All right, let's dive into this.
Yeah.
Charles Duhigg's The Power of Habit.
Okay.
Have you read this one?
I have, yeah. It's really fascinating stuff.
It's a good one.
Yeah.
It's all about how these like little tiny everyday actions, they can have a huge impact on our lives.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we kind of go through our day a lot of the time on autopilot, right?
Yeah.
Not really thinking about the why behind what we're doing.
Right.
And Duhigg, he kind of pulls back the curtain on the science of those automatic behaviors, habits.
Habits, yeah. And he starts the book out with this crazy story about this woman, Lisa Allen.
Yes.
And she totally transformed her life.
Uh-huh.
Quit smoking, ran a marathon, got a master's degree, bought a house, turned her finances around.
Wow.
All by understanding
and
changing her habits.
That's incredible.
Pretty inspiring, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
What if we could all do that?
Yeah. Well, and what's so interesting, too, is she didn't try to do everything at once.
Right.
She started with one thing, quitting smoking.
Okay.
And then that had this, ripple effect that triggered all these other positive changes.
So it's like that one habit led to all these other great habits.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So it makes you think, what could happen if we all kind of took stock of our own habits, right?
Yeah, so let's unpack this habit loop thing that he talks about.
Okay, yeah, so the habit loop.
Okay.
It's this 3-step process that really kind of governs all of our behavior.
Right.
And it starts with a cue.
Okay.
Which is basically just a trigger that tells your brain to go into automatic mode.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Or like a reminder almost?
Yeah, like a reminder or a signal.
Okay.
And then comes the routine.
Okay.
So the behavior itself, whether it's physical, mental, or emotional.
Right.
And then finally there's the reward, which helps your brain decide if this particular loop is worth remembering for the future.
Oh, so it's like a feedback loop.
Yeah.
Where your brain's like, okay, was this good or bad?
Exactly. Yeah. It's constantly learning and adapting.
Based on
the reward.
Okay.
So you do something and it feels good.
Right.
You're more likely to do it again.
Gotcha.
And Duhigg really goes deep into the neuroscience, too.
Okay.
He explains how a part of our brain called the basal ganglia plays a key role in all of this.
So the basal ganglia is basically like our brain's autopilot.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Right. It's helping us conserve energy by automating these routine actions.
Exactly.
Okay.
So, that's why we can do things like brush our teeth or drive a car.
Right.
Without having to think about every single step.
But that can be a bad thing too, right?
Well, yeah, it's a double-edged sword, right?
Yeah.
Because bad habits get ingrained just as easily as good ones.
Okay.
But there's this fascinating case study in the book about a man named Eugene Pauly who lost his ability to form new memories.
Oh, wow.
Because of damage to his brain.
Oh, no.
But get this.
Okay.
He could still learn new habits.
How is that possible?
It's wild, right?
Yeah.
It highlights how habit formation is separate from conscious memory.
Okay.
Even when our ability to recall events or information is impaired,
right,
our brains can still learn and adapt through habits. It's really pretty remarkable.
Yeah, so you're saying even if we have brain damage or something, we could
still form new habits.
Learn new things through habits.
Right, exactly.
That's pretty amazing.
He's pretty hopeful too, right?
Yeah, that is hopeful.
Because it suggests that change is possible even when we're facing challenges.
Yeah.
Neurological challenges or whatever.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's kind of like a glimmer of hope for all of us who feel trapped by those pesky bad habits.
Right.
But, then the question is
how do we actually change?
Yeah, how do we actually rewire our brain?
It's the bad, embrace the good. What's the secret?
Well, one key is understanding this thing called craving.
Okay.
Duhigg argues that habits aren't just about repeating actions.
Okay.
They're really about anticipating the reward. Our brains are wired to seek pleasure and avoid pain, right? And that desire for the reward is what keeps us hooked.
So it's our brains are constantly chasing that dopamine.
Yeah, exactly.
That feeling of satisfaction. I know I've definitely experienced that with social media or sugary treats.
Because of course, yeah.
How do we break free from those cravings?
Right. Well, think about those lab monkeys Duhigg describes.
Oh, yeah.
They get hooked on that anticipation of the juice reward, even when distractions are introduced.
Oh, wow.
They crave that feeling of satisfaction.
It's just give me the juice.
Yeah, basically. And you know, companies like Cinnabon,
Yeah.
they exploit this.
Oh, sure.
Oh, yeah. They place their stores strategically
Oh, interesting.
to tempt us.
With that smell.
With that irresistible smell
No.
of those cinnamon rolls.
Yeah.
You walk by.
You can't resist.
And you're like, oh, I gotta have one.
Exactly.
They're triggering our cravings before we even realize what's happening.
That's like they're playing mind games with us.
In a way, yeah.
With our noses.
With our senses.
And he also talked about Febreze, the air freshener.
Oh, yeah, right?
Like initially.
It flopped because it focused on eliminating bad smells.
Yeah.
Which didn't tap into any existing craving.
People didn't crave that.
No, nobody craves the absence of something bad, right?
Right. They want something good.
Exactly.
So how do they change it?
Well, they shifted their marketing
Okay.
to emphasize creating a pleasant scent.
Oh, okay.
And suddenly people started craving that feeling of freshness. And sales skyrocketed.
Wow.
They created a new craving.
So it's all about the craving.
Yeah, it's all about understanding what craving is driving the habit.
But how do we actually change the behavior when it feels so automatic?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? That's where this golden rule of habit change comes in.
Okay.
Duhigg argues that instead of trying to eliminate a bad habit, we should focus on replacing it. It's about keeping the same cue and reward,
Right.
but swapping out the routine.
Right.
So if I always crave a cookie at 3 p.m.,
Right.
I could keep the cue,
Yeah.
that afternoon slump,
Uh-huh.
and the reward,
Yep.
that feeling of satisfaction,
Right.
but swap the cookie for a healthier snack,
Exactly.
like some fruit or nuts.
Yeah, it's like rewiring the electrical circuit in your brain. You're not ripping out the whole system.
Right.
You're just redirecting the flow of energy.
Okay.
You know, Duhigg uses the example of Tony Dungy,
Oh, yeah?
the football coach.
Right. Who turned around this losing team by changing his players' habits.
Instead of giving them new plays and stuff.
Exactly. Instead of overwhelming them with complexity,
Right.
he focused on changing their habits.
Wow, and that led to a Super Bowl, right?
It did, yeah. He won a Super Bowl with the Indianapolis Colts.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So this really works.
It can work, yeah.
It's crazy how, a simple change in routine can have such a big impact.
Well, it's about understanding that underlying craving.
Right.
And finding a new behavior that satisfies it.
In a healthier way?
Yeah, in a more positive way.
So think about a habit you want to change.
Okay.
What's the cue?
Yeah.
And what's the reward you're seeking?
What are you really after?
Okay, so let's say I want to stop mindlessly scrolling through social media before bed.
Okay, yeah.
So the cue might be that feeling of boredom.
Right.
Or wanting to unwind after a long day. And then the reward might be that feeling of connection.
Yeah.
Or distraction from my thoughts.
So instead of reaching for your phone, could you create a new routine that provides a similar reward? Maybe reading a book.
Yeah.
Or listening to calming music.
Right.
Or spending a few minutes meditating.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Something that kind of gives you that same feeling.
Right, of relaxation.
Exactly.
Without the negative side effect.
Yeah, without the mindless scrolling.
It sounds so simple when you say it like that.
I know, right?
But we always get stuck in the same patterns.
We do. We're creatures of habit.
It's true.
And Duhigg also talks about the power of belief in habit change.
Belief.
Yeah.
Okay.
Especially in the context of Alcoholics Anonymous.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, AA is a fascinating example.
Okay.
Because its success hinges on creating this sense of belief and community.
So it's not just about willpower then?
No, it's not just about white-knuckling it.
Okay.
It's about having a support system and believing that change is possible.
So that community becomes like a habit itself.
In a way, yeah.
Like a good habit.
Yeah.
That helps you change other habits.
Yeah, and Duhigg calls those keystone habits.
Keystone habit.
Yeah. Habits that trigger positive changes in other areas of life.
So one good habit
can have this ripple effect.
Can lead to other good habits.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
So it's about finding those leverage points that can create a cascade of change.
Like what kind of things?
Well, it could be something as simple as starting each day with a healthy breakfast.
Oh.
Or making time for regular exercise.
Yeah, those are good ones.
Or even just making your bed every morning.
Really?
Yeah, it's about those small things
Okay.
that can create a sense of order and accomplishment.
So it's not about overhauling your whole life?
No, it's about those small wins.
Small wins. I like that.
Yeah, Duhigg emphasizes that a lot.
Oh, yeah.
He talks about Paul O'Neill.
Oh, yeah, the CEO.
Yeah, the CEO of Alcoa. And he transformed the company by focusing on worker safety.
That seems kind of counterintuitive.
It does, right.
Like, how does focusing on safety lead to all these other changes?
Well, O'Neill understood that changing safety habits required changing the company's culture.
Oh, okay.
It required a shift in communication, accountability, and ultimately a sense of shared purpose.
Oh, wow.
And those changes created a ripple effect.
So it wasn't just about safety.
No, it was about creating a culture of excellence.
Interesting.
And that led to improvements in efficiency, productivity, profitability.
Like that saying, that
like,
take care of the pennies and the towns will take care of themselves.
Oh, yeah, I like that.
But in this case, it's like, take care of safety and the profits will take care of themselves.
Exactly. It's a powerful reminder that small changes can have a big impact.
I love that.
And think about Michael Phelps.
Oh, yeah. The swimmer.
The Olympic swimmer.
Right.
His coach, Bob Bowman, focused on these tiny behavioral routines. Like visualizing the perfect race.
Right.
Which contributed to Phelps's incredible success.
So it wasn't just about the physical training.
No, it was about cultivating a winning mindset.
Through habit.
Through habits, exactly.
Wow, that's amazing.
It's easy to overlook the power of those small actions.
Yeah.
But they can really add up over time.
Right, so instead of getting overwhelmed by the big picture, we can focus on making progress one step at a time.
Exactly.
Celebrating those small wins.
That's the key.
I like that.
Building momentum.
But Duhigg also brings up the ethics of habit change.
Oh, right. Yeah.
If our behaviors can be so easily manipulated, like with targeted ads and social media,
that's a big concern.
Where do we draw the line?
Yeah, that's a really important question.
It's a little scary, right?
Well, it's something to be mindful of, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, understanding the habit loop can be empowering.
Right.
We also need to be aware of the potential for misuse.
Like people using this knowledge to manipulate us.
Yeah, exactly.
Without us even realizing it.
It's happening all the time.
That's kind of creepy.
It is. It's kind of like we're constantly being bombarded with these cues and rewards designed to trigger specific behaviors.
Yeah, it's like they're trying to control our minds.
In a way, yeah.
That's a lot to think about.
It is. It's a big topic.
It makes you realize how much of our lives is shaped by forces we're not even aware of.
It's true.
So what can we do about it?
Well, I think the key is awareness.
Okay.
Be mindful of the information you consume, the environments you expose yourself to.
Yeah.
Be a critical thinker.
Okay.
Make conscious choices.
About the habits we want to cultivate.
Exactly.
So as we delve deeper into this power of habit, we also need to develop a sense of responsibility for how we use this knowledge.
It's not just about personal gain.
Right.
It's about using this understanding to create a better world.
A more ethical world.
Exactly.
Where we can all thrive.
That's the goal.
This is heavy stuff.
Yeah. It is, but it's important stuff.
Yeah, it really is.
You know, this whole conversation, it's given me a lot to think about.
You too.
I'm starting to see my own habits in a whole new light.
Recognizing those cues, routines, rewards.
Yeah, it's like a whole new level of awareness.
It's empowering, right?
It is. It's empowering to know that we have the ability to change.
Yeah, to create a life that aligns with our values.
Exactly, to live more intentionally.
I like that. It's amazing how much power our habits have.
Right.
And Duhigg, he doesn't just talk about like personal habits.
Yeah.
He also like explores how habits influence like social movements.
Oh, right.
Like the Montgomery bus boycott.
Yeah, that's a great example.
Like Rosa Parks. That one act of defiance sparked a whole movement.
It's incredible, right?
Yeah, and it changed history.
Yeah, and it wasn't just about like individual actions either. It was about those social habits.
Our community.
The community networks that really amplified everything.
So like it was more than just people agreeing with the cause.
Yeah.
The boycotts lasted for like over a year.
Over a year, yeah.
Because they had that shared purpose.
Yeah.
Like the social obligation.
Right, and those relationships.
Right, and those habits, those social habits.
They turned that one act into this collective force for change.
For change.
It's powerful stuff.
And he also talks about like Saddleback Church.
Oh, yeah.
A huge mega church.
Yeah, one of the biggest in the world.
And like how Rick Warren,
right,
founder,
he understood
like the power of social habits. in growing like a spiritual community.
Right. He created this environment that made it easy for people to connect
With each other in their faith.
Exactly.
So it's like those habit change principles, they can apply to like so many different things.
They can, yeah. It's pretty amazing.
It's really fascinating.
From personal growth to social movements to building organizations, it's all connected.
It's wild.
Yeah.
And he also like goes into this like really philosophical stuff about habit change.
Like free will.
Yeah.
Right.
And he talks about William James.
Oh, yeah.
That psychologist who like struggled with feeling powerless.
Right. Like he felt stuck.
Yeah, like he was at the mercy of his impulses, circumstances.
So he decided to do this experiment.
Okay.
He committed to living as if he had complete control over his choices.
Whoa.
And it worked.
What?
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's amazing.
Just by believing in his ability to change, he actually changed.
That's powerful.
It is. It's like a testament to the power of belief.
So it's not just about understanding the habit loop.
Right.
It's also about believing that we can change.
Exactly. Recognizing that we have agency, that we can shape our own lives.
And William James, he went on to be like a really famous thinker.
He did, yeah. He became one of the most influential thinkers of his time.
So like we can all do that.
Yeah, I think so.
We all have that power.
I think we do.
It's pretty inspiring.
It is.
So the power of habit.
Yeah.
It's not just about like the mechanic.
And nuts and bolts.
Yeah, it's about the mindset.
Believing that we can change.
Exactly.
That we can shape our own lives.
It's a powerful message.
It is.
And you know, James, he wrote this famous quote.
What was it?
He said, "The will to believe is the most important ingredient in creating belief and change."
I love that.
It's a good one.
It's so true.
It is.
Well, this has been really insightful.
It has.
I feel like I have a whole new understanding of habits.
Yeah.
And like how they're shaping my life.
And how you can change them.
Yeah, and more importantly, it's given me this sense of hope.
Oh, good.
That I can change.
That's what it's all about.
That I can make positive changes.
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely.
I feel motivated now.
Good. I'm glad to hear that.
So if you're listening,
I
encourage you to check out the book. Yeah, Duhigg offers a lot of practical strategies and inspiring stories that can help you put these principles into action.
Cool.
Remember, the power to change is within you.
Yeah.
You just got to understand the rules of the game.
I like that.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the power of habit.
It's been a pleasure.
We hope you've learned something.
Yeah.
And that you're feeling inspired to harness the power of habits.
In your own life.
In your own life.
Absolutely.
Until next time, keep those habit loops spinning.
I love it.